Hello. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's section of readings. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them, but for this installment, I'm going to use the Wild Reflections Tarot deck by Spell. If I can coordinate myself here, sorry about that. And I know there's a Spell website on the back here. I think it's over there. So if you want to check it out or find this deck, there's the information. You can freeze frame and check out what you want to check out if you're interested, naturally. Supportive Oracle cards, Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Illustrated by Jesse Reish. And then there's a website at the bottom, hayhouse.com, somewhere down there. I usually find it if I look hard enough, but it's there somewhere, hayhouse.com if you're interested. Okay. And last but not least, I use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0, the pool. 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and a 4-sided dice to choose the element to decide which section of the minor arcana I'm going to use. These came from mathartfun.com, or the dice shop. The website is mathartfun.com if you're looking for that. That's where those ones came from. Okay, that being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. It's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Thank you very much for watching, and let's get into your reading. Hello, Scorpio. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Scorpio? Okay. There seems to be a kinship with Pisces. You don't have to have any Pisces in your chart, but I'm already thinking that reading might also help if this one resonates, because you got very similar something going on here, which is interesting because the way I think of astrology between Pisces and Scorpio, both water signs, both very intuitive. Scorpio seems to just go and do it. Pisces seems to hold back and kind of think about it and dream about it. So you tend to have more action on your side, tend to. Everybody's chart's different, so that's not always the same for every Scorpio or Pisces, but you know, just a little what's going on here, question mark. Because whatever's happening here, things are good. I'm getting good energy, but like Pisces, you're not feeling that way about it. You're just kind of like, I don't know about this. Like, it doesn't make me feel good. It's kind of like, I don't really feel like I want to step forward in this because for some reason or other. And it's kind of like, maybe this is something, whatever this subject is, like I've stepped away from this before. And if I've stepped away from this before, why do I want to go back into it again? It doesn't look to me like things have changed. That might be a big piece. It's almost like, for example, leaving a department. Like maybe you work at a big company and you left the department because you just, for certain reasons, you didn't like it. Or you left a certain company or something like that. Or it could be a relationship thing where you know, a friendship or whatever it was, you stepped away because you didn't like how it was going. And you're like, I don't see anything changing there. Same people there, same situation, same work. Why would I go back to that? I don't really want to do that because I left it for a reason. And I just kind of like, I didn't cause problems. Why are we saying that? I didn't shake up the apple cart. I didn't think it was going to work to my benefit. I felt actually it was going to work to my detriment. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do that. And I moved on from it. I still am not happy with it though. Yet something seems to make me feel like I'm being pulled back in. Yeah, Page of Fire, and then the Hierophant reversed. Structures being deconstructed. certain things, certain processes, certain way things are done, something's being deconstructed, and people are like, you know, we could use some of your help with this, Scorpio. We really need you to come on over here. And you're like, all right. To a point, I guess I feel like part of this is like I have to interact to a point. Does that make sense? You have to interact to a point, like which could be like texting. Like, I will text you no, and that will be my interaction. Depends on what it's doing for you. I don't know why it's funny, but it's funny to me. I got to get involved to a point. I feel like I need to. Take it with a grain of salt, you know? I'm going to stop triple guessing that, and I'm going to move on to the next part here, because there's something coming in. There's probably a piece of this where it's like, oh, there's people a part of that I like. And I feel like I have to look out for them. Take that with a grain of salt. I have that really kind of like, no, it reminds me of, I'm seeing certain pictures of people in my life, and it's kind of like, oh, if they're going to be a part of that, I feel like it's better if I'm there so that things go at least a little bit better for them. I kind of feel like it's that. I feel like some of you are going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that, and I'm just going to let it be there. Because it's kind of like, oh, they're going to be a part of it, and I like them. I don't want to be a part of that, but I care about them, so at least some of it can go right if I show up. Like, at least some of it. However it sounds, it sounds. And I'm getting like, here we go. All right, I'll do some of it. And I'm like, I feel like there's a reason that some of us, I'm not a Scorpio, but I'm connecting to the energy. Some of you guys are going to go into this and you're going to be like, I'm going to do this for a reason, and I'm going to get involved to a point for a specific reason. I feel like I'm very specific with this. Like, because of that, I'm going to do this. And there's healing coming out of it, and I do see the passion coming in. It's working. It's working. It takes me a minute to really get into it, though. I didn't show these cards, but I'll show them to you now. Like, at first, I'm just like, no. And then I'm like, oh, there's a reason. All right, I'll get involved to a point. I just have this weird kind of like, oh, okay, I'll do it feeling. Like, all right. What does this do for the whole situation? There's a face down card and a right face up. The face up one is the Ten of Wands. The way I read it, success is here, but there's going to be some work to make it happen. There's not going to be any, laying down on the job for this one. Going to put a lot of effort into it, put a lot of energy into it, but it will be successful. A lot of times I give the comparison to the Ten of Swords. To me, the difference, the big difference between these two cards, the Ten of Swords and this one, going through all this stuff and then falling flat on your face and ending up with nothing, that's the Ten of Swords. That's devastation. Kind of like, I put on all this work, tried to make all this happen, and then just went to crap. That would be the Ten of Swords. This is kind of like putting in all this work, and I do feel like it's a lot, but then at the end going, you know what? It succeeded. I made it work. At least I got what I wanted out of it. Face down card. Okay. I don't know why I'm cringing at this. I am cringing at this still. It's not a bad card. It's the Eight of Cups. It's the Nine of Cups. Yeah? Yeah. I'm not emotionally invested in this. I'm here for a specific reason. It's kind of like I'm seeing this whole thing play out again. I'm showing up to this situation, to this event, because people that I care about are going to be there. I'm invested in their experience. I feel like I'm very much that way. I'm invested that they are not going to have a hard time of it, or at least some of it will go right. At least some of it will go right because I'm going to make sure of it. That's what I'm invested to. I'm not invested in the situation itself. I'm invested in certain people. I don't know if I should say this, but I keep seeing a wedding play out, and it's about the guests. It's kind of like some of the guests I like, and I'm like, some of the other people that are going to be there are going to be really crazy, and when they get some alcohol in them, they're going to be a problem. So it's kind of like, I feel like I would show up to kind of like help give, you don't have to stay for the whole party. If it's getting a little bit much, you know, we can go. Like if people, just because it's a wedding doesn't mean you're obligated to stay the whole time. If it's getting to be a bit much, a little bit too rowdy, you're allowed to leave. You did your duty. You brought your gift. You had your dinner. It can be done if you want. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm seeing that. And it's almost like I'm going to this wedding and I'm like, I'm like, I could have skipped it. I would have skipped it if it was just me, but like because there's other people involved and also how that's going to affect other people, I'm going. One of those things. Are you going to get deeper in this or not? No. You got both nines. You got the Nine of Pentacles coming up later in the Nine of Cups. They're similar, different. We'll get to that when we get to that. I feel like during this situation, you are learning things. I'm not really sure you wanted to. It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's just, it's not funny. It's kind of like, I feel like I don't know if I really wanted to know that. I don't know if I really wanted to know that. I'm finding out some dark information, whatever that means. Again, I don't know. I keep feeling like I don't know that I wanted to know that. I don't know that I wanted to know that. I keep feeling more in the sense of like, I know what's going on. Not everybody, maybe most people don't. And it's kind of like, I wasn't even looking for the answer. I wasn't even questioning the certain things, but like, there we go. Here's the answer. Here's what's going on. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't want to be that deep in this. Scorpio, just, you have that knack, I feel, like, without even trying sometimes, you just end up finding out the truth about certain things, and you're just like, oh, wasn't really looking. You're an intuitive creature. So it's almost like, you know, you're hanging out at somebody's party, like a wedding or whatever, and then you're like, oh, what's that over there? And you just kind of walk over and you hear a couple people talking, and then you hear something and you're just like, I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know that. Not everybody knows these things, but you're figuring things out. I don't know, like that moon card makes me feel like you're kind of going down the intuitive line without realizing it. It may not be like, how do I explain this? Like sometimes intuitive things come in where you just know it, or you get a flash of an image, or you hear something. Or another way intuitive energy works is it just kind of moves you in the right position for you to hear what you need to hear when you need to hear it. Like you just kind of, like, I don't know why I'm walking over here, but here we go. Now look at this. This is pretty, and look at that, and then blah 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 blah. You hear something, you're like, that's a version of intuitiveness, in my opinion. Kind of like your intuition is moving you into position to hear something through your human ears to figure something out. Be careful of not sitting on this information. That could be a problem later on. Be careful of not sitting on this information. That Page of Pentacles is kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'll kind of sit on it and I'll think about it. It's not helping the situation. It's not helping you. And the universe likes to throw things out there in the sense of like, we didn't just throw you that information to entertain or drive you crazy. There was a purpose for it. There's a purpose for you to know that. Totally your business if you do something with it or not. It's just coming through that way. Like, you're not. It's not just for no reason that this information is coming towards you. Whether you want to do something with it or not, that's a whole nother ball of wax. Possibilities here. Careful, but like, open conversations. Open the door. Open the door. Open conversations, open the door, but carefully. You don't have to be in the middle of this if you don't want to. But you can still be effective and help create some changes. I mean, Oh, this sounds so rotten, but I don't. Is it rotten? You'll tell me in the comments. It's kind of like, you know, maybe you find out that so and so is cheating on their partner, and you're like, oh boy. I don't really want to tell the other one because I could end up being, you know, the scapegoat for that, because sometimes they get very defensive and they don't want to believe it. But if I know where their partner's going to meet up with their little fling, if we just kind of happen to go out to lunch someday at the same time that that's happening, and we just happen to drive by the place where that car is parked, and they just kind of see it for themselves, oopsie doopsie. I didn't tell them, but I kind of did. But I didn't, but I did. Like, oh my goodness, can you, who would have thought? Oh my goodness. It's kind of like getting the truth out there in a way that doesn't get aimed back at you. You decide if that makes sense or not. Because I'm getting, like, whatever this information is you're going to learn, there are ways to bring it forward without it having to be something where you get accused of, like, making things up or blah, 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 blah. You don't have to be in the middle of it. That's what I was trying to say before. It's kind of like, instead of me just kind of informing people of, like, what I heard, how about I just set it up so you see it for yourself? One of those. It's an option. It's an option. Because I keep getting, you want to be kind of like, I want to be on the outside. I don't want to be knee deep in this. And there's like, they're saying that you could still be effective with helping some change occur here without being right in the middle of the battle. You can just kind of direct it, move it around. Oh, you found that out? Well, that's interesting information. You know what I mean? It's up to you, whatever feels right. Granted, you'll probably be more locked into the situation at that point. But I'm also getting, like, I feel like if I keep handling it that way, I can handle it and I can direct it and I can move it around where I feel necessary without being in the middle of the battle. I just keep moving things around so that the battle works out the way I feel like it should without me having to take direct licks, direct hits, direct whatever you want to call it. Which is fine. I feel like Scorpio is very good at moving in the shadows when they feel necessary. So it's up to you if you feel that's correct or not. Because I keep getting the Queen of Pentacles, kind of like, I'm going to keep the stability in this situation, and I'm going to be very careful about how I do that. I'm not going to let the people who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing know that I know what's going on. I'm not going to even let them have a clue about that. But I'm going to keep making sure that when they're pulling some little fast ones, that information and the proof of what they're doing just happens to show up in the right places at the right times so they get their just desserts. It depends what it is for you. Depends what it is for you, if this makes sense. I feel like there's going to be some very, like, people are going to be like, how is this happening? I don't think people are going to catch on unless you want them to. So if you don't want to be found out, I don't think you will. And people are got this Seven of Cups. This is in the environment, like, what is going on here? Like, how does this keep happening? How do we keep finding this person doing this and that and the other thing? Like, how is this happening? They don't need to know if you don't want them to know. But the people are going to be thankful. I feel like it's going to be a combination of people being thankful for finding out the truth, but also people making a decision. Kind of like if we have the same 2 or 3 people doing these problems constantly, left and right, left and right, left and right, and it just keeps getting shown, people are going to make some decisions, kind of like, why are we putting up with this person? So that might be how this actually goes into the next involvement, if that's something you want, or if it's something you don't want, just so you know. Anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.